Have you ever tried to think on an empty stomach? Pretty hard thing to do, right? I just want you to do some mental gymnastics with that. So now imagine a whole country trying to grow, the entire nation trying to innovate, entire nation trying to, or you trying to lead hungry people. Try to imagine the enormous kind of work you're going to have to put in to lead people who are hungry in their millions. Welcome to the Diary of a Patriot. I'm Ajibola Oladiipo, and today we are asking a question that every Nigerian, and I think perhaps, not just perhaps, every Nigerian should answer, but more importantly, it's a question that every leader, aspiring, emerging, currently leader, it's the set of questions that we must honestly answer. The question is, why can Nigeria not afford hunger? Why is it that we cannot afford to be in a state where we are an hungry nation? In quotes. So, the truth is that hunger isn't just hunger. Hunger is way much more than empty plates. It's very much about wasted potentials. And when I say wasted potential, think of an hungry child sent to school. What would the child learn? Think of a farmer who is hungry. He cannot till the ground. He can't do that successfully. And if you think of a nurse who is hungry, that person would not be in a position to care for the sick. Even you that are my friend, or someone who knows me, or someone that stumbled on this video, if you are hungry, you are likely to skip this video. That's reality. And according to the United Nations, more than about 30 million Nigerians are currently food insecure. So out of all of us, about 30 million of us are roaming without knowing where food would come from. And I want us to think about it, think of everybody in Lagos, Kano, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, which other states, let's just even leave that those four states combined together, where everyone in those states do not know where the next meal will come from, whether it's going to fall from the sky or it's government that would, just imagine how ballistic and chaotic that will be. But hunger doesn't, the effect of hunger isn't just on the stomach. It hurts the mind, it hurts our collective economy, and more importantly, the very soul of a nation is attacked by hunger. The effect of hunger is overbearing, so much that it's likely to have a very strong hold on the next generation. The riches can be that strong. And that's because when a nation cannot feed itself, when a nation cannot afford to feed itself, the truth is it cannot lead itself anywhere. You can't lead yourself out of it if you cannot feed yourself, no matter what the issue is. So but I want us to talk numbers now. The World Bank says that Africa loses billions of dollars every year because of malnutrition. That's a fact. But then the question is how? I want you to think of productivity. Productivity, learning outcomes. When those things slow down, it's likely that the costs, impact on health would skyrocket. But then let's try and bring that home so that we can have a clearer perspective. Every time we think of a Nigerian child with stunted, whose growth is stunted because of lack of good nutrition, we are thinking of it from the perspective of a meal. But we should look beyond that and see the potential. That could be a potential doctor, a future policymaker, an engineer. When workers go to the farm or factory on an empty stomach, when you're not eating and you go to work, you are likely not to be as productive as you would be on a normal day. Your productivity will drop. And when food prices rise, people will buy less because they wouldn't want to do more than themselves. And what happens? The resultant effect is on the economy. It slows down. So you can see that hunger is not just a social issue, it's a wound, an economic wound, and when it bleeds, it bleeds our growth, it bleeds taxes, it bleeds potentials and opportunities. If we truly want to grow our GDP, I know we've always had this conversation. The truth is that we must feed our people first. That's foundational. It's not debatable. It's not negotiable. And here's something that most people don't realize or wouldn't agree with. Hunger itself is expensive for the government. Let me explain. When food prices rise, the government has to spend so much more on palliatives and emergency relief. No sane government wants to keep spending more on those. And when I say no sane government, every administration wants to do substantial projects. Money that's substantial projects, add their names on it and all of that. Money that could have built schools, built hospitals. You can imagine having to use that money chasing crisis. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to carry a basket to the river to fetch water. You don't want to pour water into a leaking bucket. It just doesn't make sense. It cannot fly. And that's the kicker. Here's the kicker. For decades, we spent trillions of naira subsidizing fuel, but we spent far less building cold storage infrastructure. Country spent lesser than that building rural roads or storage systems for farmers. That's the reality. And I think that we need to question our priorities when we look at all of this trajectory. And that's because when food disappears, peace will literally disappear and chaos will become the order of the day in such a place where food disappears. Think about it. When farms are unsafe, or when you're talking about yields that are poor, people become frustrated, agitation, and when what comes with all of that? Violence. Farmers clash with others. Why? Resource control, fighting for the same thing. When that happens, bandits exploit hungry young men who see no other option. In as much as that's an excuse, that happens. Even insurgent groups, they recruit easily in communities where hunger is deepest. Why? Because those people are vulnerable. And that's why you would catch me say that food security is national security. I don't think I can ever say this enough. And that's the honest truth. You cannot secure a nation that cannot feed itself. When you feed the people, you would have done half of the job trying to keep people safe. What is required to stabilize the nation. You'd have done half of the job by ensuring that people can feed, if everybody can eat. But the moment you ignore only that, trust me, you see unrest, the seeds of unrest that have been planted. You ignoring hunger is you taking water to water those seeds. And to actually be very factual, hunger doesn't just happen. It does just not happen. It's designed by decisions. It's not an accident. It's designed by decisions. When, as a nation or as a people, we choose to build or celebrate monuments and not rural storages, on-farm storage, grain reserves, when we approve contracts that celebrate the superficial, but we ignore local farmers, or when we constantly chase votes and not how to drive up our value chain, our agricultural value chain, we are making political. The honest truth is that we're making political choices that shape who eats, who get who starves, and all of what have you in that very same mix. And I sincerely don't want you to get me wrong. These things have their place. As a matter of fact, if you're a politician or you're a technocrat in politics and all of that, if you do not choose the votes, you are likely not to be in the best position to do things differently. Because it's when you're in office and in power, you're able to actively act on some of these things actually. But it's very important to know where, when, and how to balance these things. So yes, they are important, but then just like I did say earlier, We need to question our priorities and know when to do some of these things. For example, how much do we invest in the farmers who feed us every day? Think about it. Government, the federal government, state and local government. So how much do we spend? Beyond that, private organizations and NGOs, how much do we spend investing in our farmers? Do we even see what they are doing as something valuable? Do we? We don't. Would you see a farmer and say thank you? Ha ha ha. You're trying to tell your child not to be a farmer. Hunger is not charity work, it's serious policy work, and that's one thing I really want you to see. And a leadership that ignores hunger is one that endangers democracy, because you'd be having radicals or rebellious. A hungry citizen can never be hopeful. There's nothing you want to tell a hungry citizen who is in perpetual hunger that would inspire hope in them. So hunger is something we need to tactically combat. So when I'll go to the first question again, why can Nigeria not afford hunger? Because hunger steals the future before it even begins. Before the future begins, hunger has stolen it. A hungry child cannot focus in school. So what's the trajectory of that child? Lower grades, fewer skills, likely lesser opportunities when compared to their peers from other places. Now, look at that child. Multiply that by millions, and you see how hunger makes a nation poor before they even grow rich. These are realities. And then, beyond all of that future cost, there's a moral cost as well. What kind of country are we if we can build skyscrapers? I love great buildings, trust me. But then we have millions of children who go to bed without food every single day. Yeah, it's okay, the Bugatti, the Lamborghini, luxury cars, we import them, great. But then should we constantly import grains too, like all of our grains? The question of where is our sovereignty then pops up. Where exactly is it? And this is not just about food. When you look at it holistically, it's about nationhood. It's about our dignity as a people. When we look at this, is really what would be fair. Quite frankly, think about it. So what must we do? What will you and I have to do? We must put food at the heartbeat of our national planning. Whenever we are planning this, put food at the center of it. Support smallholder farmers with storage. Support them with credit. Support them with durable roads. We can do these things. Make our food system, we need to make it resilient and efficient. Again, resilient and efficient. Very, very important. We need to reduce post-harvest waste. For every school child, let's feed them. And honestly, this is one of the reasons why I particularly love, the school feeding program of the federal government, where children in schools are given food. In as much as, you expect us to combat out of school children, scourge and all of those things. It's all encompassing, but we must equally empower communities to grow what they eat as well. Because when people eat well, they are definitely going to think better as a nation. If someone was eating that has a clear edge, and when we think better, we can work better. And I strongly believe that in itself is the foundation living a better life. So if you're thinking of a better life, I think that's what's foundational. And I'd like to say this thing again. Ensuring that we have enough food is not charity. Food has nothing to do with charity. It's nation building. It's strategic. And hunger is not an option. It's not an option for us. It's not an option for our children. It's not an option for our children's children. It's not an option for our future. It's not an option for our present. It might have happened in the past, but then we need to change the narrative. And the next time you see a hungry person, I need you to remember that hunger is not just their failure. It's also, as a people, it's our unfinished work as a nation. It shows how much work we need to do. And if you decide not to work and depend on Nigeria's social safety nets, I can boldly say that you deserve to be hungry. For real hunger, you deserve it. Because what do you expect of the system if everyone decided to be like you? If everyone decides not to work and they're like you? whose labor with filling the net. Again, I hope you learned something. I'm Ajibola Oladiipo, and this is my entry today on the Diary with Patriots. I want you to remember that until we secure our food, we will never secure our future. Ududua is having a strong thing on my tongue, but it's fine. Before I leave, I want to remind you to stay hopeful, to stay engaged, to stay patriotic. But then, eat first. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.